Beijing Tzu Chi volunteers deliver preventive items to a social welfare organization in the mountain. The founding volunteer in Perth, Australia, passes away after a lifetime dedication to Tzu Chi. Welcome to Diet Headlines. I'm Maggie Tsai. Thank you for joining us. Beijing Tzu Chi volunteers received requests of aid supplies from a social welfare center at a small town. Volunteers soon deliver masks, gloves, and coats to send love and warmth into a mountain. It took over 2 hours to drive to this small town from Beijing City. However, volunteers insisted on going because the social welfare center has been closed off for 2 months and are in desperately need of supplies.
I went to a pharmacy near my house right away, and they happened to get the last 400 hand gloves that match Tzu Chi's requirements. I bought them all immediately.
This is very nice. See how happy the seniors and our staffs were. You have given us very practical items.
Volunteers deliver the gloves and masks for protection and a coat for seniors to keep warm.
Here, the wind is stronger, so the coat is thicker. This was made with materials that can keep warm. The director hasn't been back home since after Lunar New Year. The staffs go back home to see our family every other week. So we are especially thankful to you guys for the help. I'm truly grateful.
The Yanshi town near the mountain is quite cold still in the spring. Volunteers deliver supplies to keep seniors warm both mentally and physically. The number of those infected by coronavirus continues to rise each day. Diet TV reporters visited the Elmhurst Hospital, a facility that is currently treating those with COVID-19 symptoms, and was able to get an interview with the doctor just leaving her shift. Here's our report.
This is Interstate 495, and because New Yorkers have been asked to shelter in place, there have been no traffic jams during rush hour. Most people are working from home, including doctors like George Hall, who runs a practice in New York. 90% of his patients are Chinese American. In the past 2 weeks, over half of his patients have flu-like symptoms, including some with the new coronavirus. From simply looking at these symptoms, over 1/3 of patients are likely to have been infected. However, they mainly exhibit light symptoms.
About 1/3 of the patients are suspected of having light symptoms. And because they're exhibiting light symptoms, I don't want to give the new coronavirus diagnosis. So I'm treating their symptoms directly with flu medication, and many have recovered.
Currently, only one of his patients needed to be transferred to the hospital for further testing or treatment. On the whole, Dr. Hall believes Chinese Americans do a good job of self-protection against the virus. Thus may be the reason why their infection rate is lower in the U.S.
The Chinese community is following the social distancing order well. It's a social responsibility. When there is one less patient, the hospital needs to treat one less person.
The Dai News team also headed to the hospital, which is taking on COVID-19 cases, Elmhurst Hospital. Previously, an emergency room doctor leaked to the media that they don't have enough medical supplies, which brought many journalists to cover this story. We were able to ask an off-duty doctor about an update on the situation.
I mean, there are a lot of patients there. They need a lot of help. So what we have been doing is like pediatrics team, we go there and we help them. Patients with mostly like difficulty breathing, requiring oxygen. It's for us, like the doctors and everyone, like it's like in direct contact with the patients, they give us one like every day. What I do, I just clean it and save it just in case that they don't have, because sometimes we don't find it.
As hospitals in New York are short-staffed and short on supplies, doctors suggest consult your family doctor first if you are experiencing any symptoms to avoid overloading the hospital.
As the infection rate in New York is still going strong, the frontline medical staff is needing lots of personal protective equipment to fight the virus without getting infected. Tzu Chi volunteers in New York have been gathering materials online from all over the world as well as domestically.
Boxes of medical masks, which have been donated, are loaded into cartons as New York Tzu Chi volunteers prepare to send this emergency supply to 2 local hospitals. As New Yorkers are sheltering in place, the road is free of traffic. Tzu Chi volunteer Liu Jinchen and Dr. Yang are self-protected as they deliver this medical supply to the hospitals.
We're on our way to send masks to the hospitals so medical personnel on the front lines don't have to worry.
The supplies are gathered by the Coalition of Asian American Independent Practice Associations in Greater New York. Tzu Chi is sending 200 KN95 masks and 2,000 3-layered medical masks, while CAIPA is preparing 200 personal protection gowns and 5,000 medical masks. The medical staff is full of gratitude for the gift, but is keeping their distance.
I hope people stay at home and keep social distances. We can get this controlled as soon as possible. 谢谢你们哈，非常感谢。
As Bronx Care Health System serves the South Bronx community, each day new patients are confirmed with the novel coronavirus, and the medical staff is now very short-handed.
And currently we have 300 patients. 110 of them are on ventilators. And so we've been extremely busy, and every little bit helps, and we greatly appreciate it.
On the other end, volunteers continue to work to gather medical supplies. Tzu Chi New York CEO Freeman Su and team of members have meetings with global volunteers each day to follow up with supply logistics. In the next week or so, 10,000 medical masks will come from Shanghai. 15,000 will arrive from Guangzhou, and the U.S. Tzu Chi headquarters will send 10,000 to New York. Meanwhile, New York Tzu Chi itself has ordered 20,000 KN95 masks.
Currently, we are most in need of N95 or KN95 masks. Surgical masks are 3-layered masks and personal protection gowns, as well as goggles and face shields, these 4 items.
Tzu Chi New York chapter will continue to send personal protection equipment to 20 hospitals in the greater New York area, with those heaviest on the system first, in hopes that their supplies can help those on the medical front line ease their worries during treatment.
In Hong Kong, Tzu Chi volunteers started caring for a single-person hostel in Wanchai 6 months ago. This hostel is run by a church, helping those who need a place to stay at a low cost. During the period of epidemic prevention, volunteers brought supplies to support them.
During the epidemic, Hong Kong Tzu Chi volunteers came to the single-person hostel in Wan Chai district. They brought those disadvantaged groups masks to express their care.
Today there are 10 brothers and sisters bringing masks and hand sanitizers. We hope the materials we have will bring the residents some warmth during the epidemic.
Tzu Chi and this single-person hostel made a connection half a year ago. The residents agree with Tzu Chi's philosophy. While taking precautions against the epidemic, volunteers continue this love and care. Because some residents are not working during the epidemic, that's why we are visiting them. We want to support and help them through these difficulties. We hope they will be better.
I'm very happy to chat with them, and I learned a lot. I'm grateful that they gave me this opportunity to give.
During the epidemic, when the hostel residents and the volunteers were having a good time chatting, though their social distance has widened, their hearts have never been closer.
The first Tzu Chi volunteer in Perth, Australia is Julie Chen, who passed away on March 8 this year at the age of 69. In 1996, she suffered from breast cancer and it depressed her very much. Her sister-in-law sent her a copy of Jin's aphorism and it opened her heart to join Tzu Chi. Let's pay a tribute to this strong and devoted female role model.
The current Tzu Chi Perth office was first operated in 2004. About 6 years ago, in 1998, the Tzu Chi liaison spot was at the home of Sister Julie Chen, who is the first Tzu Chi seed in Perth, Australia.
Back then, I was having the breast cancer, about in 1995 or 96. Then my sister-in-law sent me a copy of the Master's Tzu Chi aphorisms. I read through it from cover to back 3 times. Then I remember I told her on the phone, Rongfen, I want to join Tzu Chi. And she said, you would do it in the future. This is what she said.
他说大嫂未来一定会，就是这一句话。
10 Tzu Chi volunteers from Tzu Chi Australia chapter flew from Sydney to Perth to hold a tea gathering at Sister Julie Chen's home. With support from her parents-in-law and her husband Chen Jianting, Julie Chen started to visit nursing homes, organizations for underprivileged people and impoverished families. She also established a Tzu Chi Humanity Academy and helped many people to join Tzu Chi.
让我第一次深深感受到慈济人的专纲顺路。
She made me feel warm from Tzu Chi volunteers taking special care. She and her husband are our role models as they drove the Tzu Chi car to attend various events and to open up Tzu Chi in Perth, so I admired them from the bottom of my heart.
慈济在博士的路，我打从心里佩服，也深深的感动。
非常非常孝顺的一位。
She was a very filial sister and a Bodhisattva. She wasn't just filial to her parents-in-law, but also the master. She followed the master's teaching very closely. She just followed what the master said. She was really a role model in my heart.
Julie Chen was in charge of Tzu Chi Perth's liaison office for 15 years. She had suffered from breast cancer and nasopharyngeal cancer, but it did not stop her from continuing her volunteer work. Then when her body showed an enormous change the 3rd time, when the pancreatic cancer occurred. In 2019, she went to Taiwan to receive treatment with the best wishes from Perth Tzu Chi volunteers. Unfortunately, the cancer cells continued to spread and she passed away on March 8, 2020. Sister Chen lived a dazzling life for 69 years. Perth Tzu Chi volunteers held a memorial for her in the Tzu Chi Perth office to commemorate her.
In Fujian, China, a 7-year-old girl Chen Xiaoling followed her parents and became a vegetarian at the age of 2. While being a vegetarian, she is still the tallest in the class and her learning ability is particularly good, which has led many parents to ask for advice.
Holding a pot to prepare dishes. Her posture is professional. This is 7-year-old Chen Xiaoling, who shows good skills in the kitchen. Xiaoling's parents have been vegetarians since 2011. Influenced by her parents, Xiaoling also has good cooking skills. She often prepares dishes together with her parents.
I started to be a vegetarian at the age of 2. I grew up on a vegetarian diet. I'm healthy and I rarely get sick. Her immunity has always been very good. She won't get sick from flu, and we knew very early that vegetarian food is actually the best for children. Because children's stomach is still weak, eating vegetarian food is very helpful for them. So we're determined to be vegetarians.
After Xiaoling's father had undergone a brain tumor operation, the whole family became more convinced of being vegetarian.
这边是1月26号，这里是2月23，然后这是3月14，也是非常快了。
Chen Xiaoling's growing speed is fast, allowing her mother to promote vegetarianism in the parent group easily.
Some parents send me the message saying that Xiaoling has been vegetarian since childhood. It is amazing. They also ask how we cook for her. They said that her children are willing to eat a few slices of vegetables.
江南好，风景旧承安，日出江花红胜 我，春来江水绿如蓝，能不忆江南。
As she grows taller, the knowledge in her head grows.
那要怎么样啊？
说实话。
对，要诚实，是不是啊？
诚实守信。
哦，要诚实守信。诗公上人说什么？要诚正信实。哦，对，要诚正信实。我们要做一个诚实的好孩子，对不对啊？
这幅画是我画的，我画的是树在拐，看里面有西红柿和桃子。我画这幅画的原因是想让大家一起来吃树。祝福亲爱的武汉小朋友们身心健康、快乐成长。我是陈巧玲，我是吃树长大的，我会继续吃树，为大家祈福。
We next meet Tang Minghui, a girl from Changsha, China, who has taken this time at home positively by cooking vegetarian meals for her family of 4.
It's springtime and this girl is wearing a school uniform, but she is still unable to return to school. As both her parents work, the family keeps in contact during the day with their cell phones.
我做饭了啊！好了，拜拜。我爸吃半杯，我吃半杯，哥不怎么喜欢吃小半杯，然后不是老爸半杯，我半杯，那刚好是2杯，都3杯是吧？
你家冰箱没什么菜了，哪里有什么菜？
没什么菜呀？你说哪些菜，我应该都会做。
你最拿手的？
最拿手的蛋、鸡蛋。
还有呢？
然后土豆也还可以吧，反正我觉得还好吧，我的厨艺，因为今天中午汤面都吃了，汤面可是最挑的了，不提了。
10-year-old Tang Minghui is from Changsha, China. And today for lunch, she serves fried rice with soy sauce.
This is so oily. How much oil did I use up?
During this time at home, she's been a big help. When her mom gets home from work, the mom can only take on the role of a sous chef in the kitchen.
Mom, I'm the head chef today. Why do you have on an apron? Ooh, I've cut it in half. Let's slice some more.
做什么菜了？今天？
胡萝卜土豆丝。
She also keeps up with recycling efforts, which she sells to donate to her class for miscellaneous classroom fees, as well as this kind gesture.
Typically, after I go to the market, I will pick up bottles that I've seen around and help the sanitation workers with recycling items.
In her family of 4, her mother and brother are strictly vegetarian. Her brother, 12-year-old Tang Ming'en, is an athlete.
My son has been a vegetarian for 7 years and has been really healthy throughout. In school, he is very active in sports and has even received an award for being an athlete.
The home's wall of awards include drawings from Tang Minghui.
左边画的是病毒和蝙蝠，右边画的是蔬菜水果和人们。我希望新的一年大家都可以吃素，一起战胜病毒，打倒病毒。对了，你拍的这些照记得发给我妈，我妈要晒朋友圈的时候播，然后自豪地说：“看我女儿怎么地，看我女儿巴拉巴拉巴，看我女儿哔哔哔。”
There's a 100-year-old recycling volunteer at the Tzu Chi recycling station in Banqiao, New Taipei City, called Grandma Abby. Let's go meet her.
妈，咱今日直接来环保站好不好？好，遐好。
Although sanitarian RB, knee joints are degenerate and she works unsteadily, she will report to the recycling station as long as weather is good. And also, she has her own recycling area.
我摕一卡箱，我给你带好啊。黑的先撕起来，然后这个才给他，白纸才给他撕。
The paper recycling area has an exclusive seat for Grandma. The volunteers here call her mother. As long as they don't see Grandma for a few days, they will miss her very much.
She's doing recycling at home, otherwise she comes here to do recycling. It's moving. Why not? She's in good health, so she can do it. And also she treats us well.
I'm very touched. She's 100 years old and still works hard on environmental protection. She's so old that she comes to work as a volunteer. We have to learn from her.
She comes here as a volunteer because there are many people here. She feels joyful doing work.
In 2015, Grandma Abi moved to live with her daughter because her knee had to undergo surgery. In order to prevent her from degenerating quickly, her daughter took her to do recycling together.
I want to give my mother a chance to exercise and not to degenerate quickly. If she has something to do, she won't think too much, and also it's good for the environment.
When it is cold or raining, Grandma Abi won't go out, but she won't waste time at home.
Tier 1 and say amitofo, amitofo. I eat that at home. I can do it a little bit and exercise my body.
In addition to doing paper recycling, Grandma also has a good habit.
I will put a coin into a coin bank every day. I want to help people who are in need.
The compassionate Grandma Abi devotes herself to do recycling paper, activating her body and also contributing her efforts to the earth.
Do you prefer red or white shell eggs? There were sayings on the internet that some eggshell color faded after washing, and hence people doubted that the color was artificial. The dietitian explained that the color change was a natural phenomenon, so people shouldn't panic about it. After buying boxed eggs, some people are used to wash it before cooking. Some eggshells' color fades after washing. Many people wonder if it indicates that the color is artificial.
Sometimes rubbing from the outside or exposure to the sun could all cause irregular pigmentation or color fade. It's actually normal.
The shell color is actually related to the pigment the egg produces from itself. The public shouldn't panic when the color fades when washing it. Here we compare the egg yolks of the red and white shell eggs.
个人的喜好啦，萧色的，是红的比较好一点。
哪一种卖的比较好？当然是红蛋啦。它的那个吃的饲料有特别调配过。
The yolk color is related to the chicken's feed.
If we feed the chicken on Ganoderma, yeast, or carrot extracts, then we'll have natural egg yolk color.
Let's hear what the experts said about the nutrient value of different eggs.
Whether it's the calories, proteins, or vitamin A and E supplements, the nutrition values of both white and red shell eggs are actually similar.
White or red, it's a matter of personal preference. As long as the source is clear, all eggs are equally nutritious. An entrepreneur in China donated disinfectant liquid to 36 schools in Sichuan for students to stay safe. Take a look and see you next time.